Oh, sure. Yeah, of course I did. Sure, what the hell else does a young fella be thinking about, you know? And Brendan knows. I had a girl. A lovely girl back then. We were courting for 3 years in 1963 to 66. But she wanted to go to Dublin, you know. She would have felt that's what we should have done. I don't suppose I know why it was a thing with me that an irrational fear, I suppose, kept me here. And I couldn't understand why she wanted to be running off up to Dublin, you know. And she did in the end anyway, like. And she was working up there waiting for me to come. But with me it was a mad thing. That I thought I was 1,000 fucking miles away. I hated going up. I went up a few times, like, but I was going up for, you know, she had a room. A freezing, damp place. I was a terrible fella. It became that was the only thing I was going for. I couldn't stand being away. I don't know why. I'd be all excited about going up for the physical, you know, the freedom of it. But after a day and night and I'd had my fill, we'd be walking in the park and I'd be all catty and bored and moochy, breaking the poor girl's heart. Yeah, you get older and you look back on why you did things. And you see that a lot of the time there wasn't a reason. You do a lot of things out of pure cussedness. I stopped answering her letters. And that fucking dread one coming to the house and her in it wondering how I was and was there something wrong with the post or this. I can't explain what carry-on I was up to. I just left her out, being the big fella. My dad handing over the business to me swanning around, a man of substance. And then I had the gall to feel resentful when she wrote and said she was getting married to a fella. And I was told that it was her fault for going up there in the first place. There was a delegation of people from all around here going up to the wedding on a bus. And I was just one of the crowd, just one of the guests. In my suit and my shoes nearly polished off me. I had a hangover like you wouldn't believe. I've been up till 5 or more, swilling this stuff, looking at the fire, and we were all on the bus at 9. And all the chat all around was why she hadn't come home to get married. And me, sick as a dog. The smell of brill cream off all his cultures, sitting in a church at Philsborough. And all her lovely nurse friends and their guard body boyfriends. She was marrying a guard. Huge fella, shoulders like a big gorilla. And they were coming down the aisle after, and I caught her eye. And I gave her the cheesiest little grin you've ever seen. A little grin that was saying, enjoy your big gorilla, 'cause the future's all ahead of me. And she just looked at me like I was another guest at the wedding. And that was that. And the future was all ahead of me. Years and years of it. I could feel it coming. All those things you've got to face on your own, all by yourself. And you bear it, because You're showing everybody that you're a great fella altogether. But I left the church like a little boy. And I walked away. I couldn't go to the reception. I just kept walking. There was light rain. I just kept walking. And then I was in town. It was a dark day, like there was a roof on the city. And I found myself in a little labyrinth of streets with nothing doing. And I ducked into a pub, little dark place, just one or two others there. Business-like barman, like yourself, Brendan. Business-like, beautiful. And I put a pint away, or two, and a small one or two. And I sat there, just looking down at the wooden bar. And the barman asked me if I was all right. Simple little question. And I said I was. And he said he'd make me a sandwich. And I said, okay. And I nearly started crying. Because, you know, here was someone just... And I watched him. He took 2 big slices of a fresh loaf and buttered them carefully, spreading it all around. I'll never forget it. And then he sliced some cheese and cooked ham and an onion out of a jar and put it all on a plate and sliced it down the middle. And just someone doing this for me and putting it down in front of me. Get that down now, you, he said. And then he folded up his newspaper and put on his jacket and he went off on his break. And there was another barman then. And I took the sandwich up and I could hardly swallow it because of the lump in my throat. But I ate it all down because someone I didn't know had done this for me. Such a small thing, but a huge thing in my condition. It fortified me like no meal I've ever had in my life. And I went to the reception, and I was properly ashamed of myself. There was a humility I've tried to find since, but goodness wears off. And it just gets easier to be a contrary bollocks. Down in the garage, spinning small jobs out all day, taking hours to fix a puncture. Stops you thinking about what might have been and what you should have done. It's like looking away, like I did at that reception. You should only catch someone's eyes for the right reason. And I'll tell you, there's not one morning I don't wake up with her name in the room. I do be at this fella, don't I?